Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto, Willies.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Willies, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. And good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of internet created by whom? We the people, under the auspices of the government program called the ARPANET. Please do remember, folks, we the people have always been the creators. We the people have always been the ones who get things done. We the people, through our government, we the people created NASA, created all these other entities that did research, that created the baseline that our capitalist economy have used to profit on what all of us have done. And today we have some major coverage on two items, one to serve and one that should be serving. And we'll talk about that later. But before we get into these detailed matters, we need to go to the geniuses in El Estudio, which means we're talking about El Señor Jack Van Bever and Mayana. You know, when you talk about Mayana, you know, Oprah has one name.
Hello.
Mayana has one name.
How you doing?
How you doing, Mayana?
I'm good. I'm just like here with Jack, watching him do his writing and getting into it.
You know, Jack have to get into his stuff, man. You know, Jack is one of these commentators now at these great rallies. I'm trying to get some stuff from him, Jack. I still don't have my video.
Well, I'll make sure and talk to Jesse today.
Okay.
Big time.
Anyway, talk to me, Jack.
Good morning, Miss Mayana. It's a good morning.
Yes, it is.
All right. Today's show confronts the hypocrisy of a political class and corporate elite that keeps gaslighting working people while corporate Democrats claim Medicare for all is unpopular. Real Americans are drowning in medical debt, and at the same time, billionaires like Jeff Bezos plan to replace humans with robots and AI, tossing loyal workers into the streets. This show expresses how both corporate power and political cowardice feed inequality, and why grassroots progressives must lead the fight for justice, dignity, and humane economy. Great. Now I'm going to deliver my soliloquy. Okay, here we go. This is shameful. Corporate Democrats have been purchased by corporate healthcare power via the Citizens United decision of the Supreme Court, which has sanctioned legal bribery of politicians. The corporate healthcare and insurance lobby is the problem. They are corrupting the political process with money and just out capitalizing we the people. If we the people allow the corporate insurance and healthcare lobby to continue to corrupt our healthcare, then we will be holding they will be holding Americans hostage and demanding a ransom to access the people's healthcare needs. I say stop paying the people and institutions that are enslaving we the people. If the new increases in healthcare premiums are simply unaffordable, then act like a patriot who is facing tyranny and refuse to be ransomed for healthcare. When the corporate bought Democrats and Republicans see this action in mass, they will know the gig is up. They will be forced to deliver to we the people single-payer health Medicare for all for the healthcare system, or the healthcare system will collapse. So be a true patriot. Refuse to yield to this tyranny. Let your insurance coverage last to create a brighter healthcare future. The people should make this a grassroots movement and call it liberty or else. Corporate Democrats, we the people are coming for you too in the next election. Period.
Hear that?
You know what you say? Hey, I like the way Mayana say, hear that? Anyway, look, let me tell you, this is real. This is real. The two things that I want to talk about today in between our fund driving. Let me say something, okay? Because I know a lot of you that are listening to the shows. And I want to thank all of you on every coast, on every lake, meaning the Midwest, and everybody that listens to us. I am tired of it too, guys. I got a few messages, direct messages from great listeners of ours complaining, Egberto, I get up on the West Coast early in the morning and all I hear is pitching and asking for money. And I gave him a long write-up as to why we have to do what we have to do. But folks, that's one of the reasons I try to give a program where we get some substance, even as we are asking for money to keep the station alive. I honestly don't like it. I feel, when you're doing nonprofit work, when you're doing the activism, the only way for us to get funding is through you great people. All of you. It's through you great people. That's the only way we can do it. And for this fund drive here at KPFT, we only have a few more days. I want you guys to put Sandy in his place so that Sandy can say, damn it, I got to stop this thing early. And you know what? We can actually do it if you start giving us a call early on so we can get the hell out of fund drive and get into 100% doing what we need to do. And yes, I try to reduce it. I did some timing and clocking. We're doing less than 25% of the show time in pitching, but we have to do this. So please bear with us a few more days. We're going to get into full programming soon. And with that, we go to the station manager, El Senor Sandy. Is Sandy available today, or I think he is?
I'm here.
Okay,
you just have to unmute.
Okay, great.
Still looking for that second cup of coffee.
I hear you, buddy.
Good morning, Egberto. Good morning to our listeners. And for those of you that are complaining about Fund Drive, well, if we don't have Fund Drive, there is no KPFT. And if there's no KPFT, there's nothing to listen to. If you don't like the Fund Drive, do something about it. Make a contribution. The quicker we get to our goal, the quicker we end Fund Drive. Now, I can talk about our last major fund drive back in June, where we ended, I think, on a Thursday afternoon or so when we were scheduled to end on a Sunday. This time through, we're scheduled to go through a week from this coming Sunday, November 9th. But we can end it early. For those of you that have not yet given, 693 folks have decided to do so far, totaling $112,761. If you're not one of those distinct acts of kindness and you don't like the fund drive, give us $5 or $10 a month, especially toward our $500 goal this morning on this program, and we will stop pitching until February. However, it takes all of us to power this radio station. It takes all of us to pay the bills. So if you're complaining and you haven't given, well, I'm sorry. The other people that have made it possible for you to complain about the fund drive. Do something about it. 713-526-5738, option 1. Do something about it. kpft.org and click donate. And again, give up $5 or $10 a month, become a sustainer. Your sustaining pledge is matched by a few people off our local station board with a few more dollars, getting us to where we're going even faster. So there's a way to solve the issue of your complaint. Get involved. Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. I just want to also say that our complainer was also a donor, and I want to thank you. Or a couple of complainers that wrote to me are solid donors, and I want to thank you all for being donors and supporters of the station. We couldn't do it without you. 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate. Let me go to Johnny before I start. So just to because I want to go ahead and go straight into first Medicare for All, and then we'll move on from there. Brother Johnny, talk to me, sir.
To my fellow time travelers who listen to KPFT and who donate, I do. I don't understand you guys who criticize the station for having to raise money. They're not commercial. They don't play commercials. Unlike the federal government, when they shut down, they still get paid. Those people in Congress, the congressmen and senators, they still draw a fine, outstanding, dependable government salary from us, the makers. But they shut down, they get paid, and they don't do anything. KPFT doesn't shut down. KPFT continues providing programming even when they have to so-called shut down or fundraise. So quit complaining and understand that that's the nature of life in America. It's part of the process of living in an unfettered, underregulated, mercenary capitalistic society. And I think APFT and does pretty damn good when it comes to providing a service while not being shut down while trying to raise money to stay alive. So quit complaining and aim your anger at the Republicans, especially in D.C. They deserve complaints, not KPT. Ooh, that sounds like a poem. Oh, Rona, chill.
Thank you, Johnny. All right. Look, folks, thank you so kindly for listening. I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you for also being supporters. And many of you are, I know many people can't support financially. Many of you share. Many of you tell people who we are. Many of you tell people we need to listen to food that's going to move us forward, etc. So I want to thank you all. And I want to ask those of you who can call me now. Por favor, necesitamos generar el dinero. Anyway, here's what I want to start. I want to start with an article that came up for me in Common Dream. And the article was but let me go to the one that I actually start with, which, as I said, was Medicare. Corporate Democrats falsely claim Medicare for all is unpopular. And that's the title of the program. And it was based on several articles, including super PACs that are funding Democrat, a particular super PAC named Welcome, I believe, that is funding a lot of Democrats. And this super PAC came up with a long list to win toward a common cause since renewal of the Democratic Party. And what this article did in its executive summary, etc., was try to tell Democrats who want to win all the things that they needed to do. Things like what is really popular, etc., what people need and want, etc. A lot of times when you find these big documents talking about what politicians need to do or what a party needs to do, it is written by some Washington elite, New York elite, LA elite, or something like that. People that never have sat down and gone to a food bank. You know, I remember when my daughter was about, 10, 11 years old, we used to make sure and do things. We used to have activities like going to the food bank, serving at the food bank, just so that you can see we are all possibly or could go out there and end up here at some time. You don't know what life has in store for you. Personally, I never expected my daughter, who was in med school, to get 2 strokes and having to take care of 2 households, one in DC and one here, and spending time and losing all that time. You never know what is going to happen to you. You never know. And we used to do, like on Thanksgiving, that supposedly goody 2-shoe things, and you go serve Thanksgiving dinner until, I remember saying, why are we only doing these things on Thanksgiving or Christmas or, these other times? This is something that we should be talking about these things year round. So now we have people trying to tell the Democratic Party to be who they're not supposed to be. That party of the working class, that party that support policies that really help people. You wonder why, as bad, Johnny just spoke about put your anger onto the Republican Party for what they support. They don't want to give anything. All the policies they talk about, it's not about policies that helps people on the individual level, but they want policies that support the corporate state. And if the corporations decide to be generous, which by design, that's not the job of a corporation, right? They want, that's where they want to throw all their monies. Now, the thing about it is when these think tanks or PACs come up with these stories about what Americans want, you then get the pundits go on MSNBC and CNN and Fox News and all these things and say, oh, this is what the problem is with the Democratic Party. This is what they need to do, X, Y, Z. They need to say no to things like Medicare for all, those left-wing ideas, family leave, left-wing ideas. And what you see, the fine line, is that the Democrats are the leadership, not Democrats, the Democratic leadership, the Democratic establishment are there doing what again? They're there to put a stop on that which helps the masses because it means that small, elite, and powerful cannot monopolize. Let me get specific now. Medicare for all, every poll ever taken for Medicare for all, people have always supported it because it makes sense, because it's the only form of a given healthcare that makes sense. Everything else with insurance companies is skimming money, no purpose, to make a whole bunch of bucks for some few at your cost. I mean, there is no valid argument against Medicare for all. And we call it Medicare for all. We can call it single payer system. There is no mathematical reason. There is no fiscal reason. There is no scientific reason why private healthcare is necessary at all. There is none. And anybody wants to go ahead and discuss that with me, the phone is yours, 713-526-5738. We can discuss the numbers. We can discuss the efficiencies. We can discuss the scientific developments. Any particular thing you want to discuss about it, let's talk about it. Yet, we have a report that millions was spent to create this report to tell Democrats what they need to do to win, to be liked. The reason why right now, in as much as the Republican Party has horrendous ratings right now, that the Democrats' rating are not zooming. And the reason why is the Democratic establishment and those people promoting what being a Democrat is all about, they share nothing in common with the working class. They share nothing in common with the middle class, because they don't know the tribulations the middle class is going through because of the corporate state they've created. They just don't get it. They just don't get that people are just trying to keep their heads above water. They just can't see. I mean, when I go out into the streets and I talk to people, and I do it all of the times, even people that thought they were staunch conservatives, now that reality is hitting them, they're sitting down and say, my God, what am I going to do for insurance? I've got to have insurance. And baby, we're not only talking health insurance. We're talking about everything just to exist in this country. The people that are expatriating themselves right now are finding a different world when they go outside. I mean, it's hard to leave a country and say, I'm going to establish myself somewhere else. But when they do that and they see the cost of living and how things are spent, they wonder, how the hell do we make it in the United States? Yes, we are the bastion of wealth. But my God, how do you make it with all the insurances you pay? I can go into details on Medicare for all, which we will do over time. But because we are, in fact, in fund drive, I have to keep 25% of my time to raise some money. And since we're at 20 after and have made not a single penny, I'm going to continue a little bit more with Medicare for all. Then I'm going to move on to AI, the canary in the mine, UPS, and Amazon. But before that, I want to come and ask all of you that are listening right now to please, if you have the wherewithal, think about this. For a lot of what we're going to discuss, to remember that we're already self-empowered, we need to be here to be able to talk about this. And the only way we can be here is if, in fact, we continue to hear from you, both listening and economically, which means call us and give us some moolah. And remember, that money doesn't come to me. That money goes directly to the station so we can keep that 100,000 watt transmitter, so we can keep that internet for those of you receiving us on the West Coast, East Coast, and everywhere else. That's the only way we survive. And sorry, I apologize ahead of time for having to do this, but we must. Please give us a call at 713-526-5738. Again, that is 713-526-5738. 38 extension number 1. I'm going to be passing this to Sandy in a second. Folks, consider $5 a month, $10 a month, a coffee or two, you know. Glenn Ryan is in the house. He says, here he goes again, folks. So stop vetting for them. Your vote is their signal that divide. You know, he gives me a hard time for doing a lot of voting Democrats, you know. That's Glenn, my good friend. By the way, Glenn bought a Coffee with Egberto, and we are going to be having coffee whenever Glenn give me a shout and say, Egberto, damn it, I'm ready to slap you around a bit. All right, Glenn, you just let me know, brother. Let's go to Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. And we're at a zero so far. We have a $500 goal for this program. The necessity of doing fundraising should be apparent to all of our regular listeners. For those that have been listening maybe for a long period of time, you know this is how KPFT survives. There is no commercial revenue, not a penny. We don't do commercials. We don't promote products. We don't tell you what the side effects of drugs are that we are talking about that can greatly improve your health, although may cause sudden death like you might hear on other channels. We're a little bit different. Pacifica Radio, we're a little bit different at this end of the frequency spectrum on the FM band, non-commercial. So where does the money come from for non-commercial stations? Some stations are really lucky. Religious stations, I would say, fall in that category. KSBJ, who we share a tower with, got purchased by the largest Christian network in the country. All of a sudden, they've got a second tower and a second transmitter just in case the first one goes down. We are nowhere near that fortunate. Grant money is at an extreme premium. Very hard to obtain grant money in the climate that we're in. Underwriting is becoming more of a factor. A little bit. We're talking about 1 or 2%, but around 92 or 93% of our funding comes directly from listeners, comes directly during fund drives for the most part. Folks, join us as a sustainer. The more people that join in, giving $5 a month on a regular basis or 10 or whatever it is that you can afford out of your budget, the fewer the number of fund drive days that we have. We had a living example. This August, there was no fund drive. There was nothing to complain about for those of you that are objecting to what we're doing. We can eliminate even more fund drive days and maybe more of your discomfort for those of you that object. Join as a sustainer. It's that simple. And when enough people do that, then we can get down to maybe a couple of weeks a year, maybe twice a year doing that short span to fill in the gaps as we move forward. This station has done a really incredible job of containing cost. I ran some numbers the other day. Somebody asked me, well, how much does it cost per hour? And the answer is a little under $85 an hour to be broadcasting. So pick up an hour or two on a sustaining basis. Every year, pay for an hour, pay for 2 hours. If enough of you get together and do that, the need for fund drive again is diminished. And it looks like we're off our waiting for the first pledge of the morning, Egberto. I'll turn it back to you so you can thank this person. But do join in. Don't be idle. Don't let things disappear for lack of funding that you value. Too many times, not enough people take the step to support what they love, what they like, and they leave it to others, and then others don't. Be the one. Be a little bit motivated by what you hear on the Pacifica airwaves. Be very motivated that you have this oasis in the media desert in Houston, and we need to pass this forward. We need to keep it for now, especially now, to have the conversations we're having. Egberto, back to you. 713-526-5738 or kpft.org.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. And I want to give a big thank you to Casey. Casey brought us 1/5 of the way there. Casey, thank you from Houston, Texas. I love you, brother. Casey D. All right, welcome aboard. Harry Denson, A-Golf Twitler, Joe, Lisa Blirrett from Atlanta, Georgia, Harry from Missouri City. Lynette, how you doing, beautiful? Lynette is in the house. Margaret Ryan is in the house. All our preciosas are in the house. Jane B. in North Carolina. Dr. Mary M. Marshall, thank you for being here. John A. Philip Caper, love you all. Let's see. We also have my nemesis, my good brother, Glenn is in the house. Glenn Ryan is in the house. Dallas Ball, George Conk, Dion, Joe, Dale, LB, the Professora LBW. I love me, my teachers. It's new happening. Richard Hogan. Thank you for being here. I think I saw Uju in there. Do you lie? Welcome aboard, my dear brother. Memester XS, Marilyn Nozel, Natalia Lago. Buenos dias, Mark KJ, Yanni Hamburger, and B. Cheryl Elkin says, my husband, then boyfriend, and I used to talk via ARPANET when I was in grad school. He at MIT, me at UW. Madison memories. Yes, yes, yes. I hear you, beautiful. I hear you. Anyway, let's go to Ben from Deer Park. Come on in, Ben.
Hi there. Am I on?
Yes, sir.
Very good. My topics today are part of your list, and that is insurance. And I want to add the need for these identification papers in such complex manners. I no longer have a driver's license, so therefore I no longer have a ID card. So I can't go down to CVS and buy sinus medication because I don't have proper ID. The driver's license is expired, but I'm not expired. The driver's license is the thing that was perfect for identification 2 weeks ago, proved me as me, and now it's not. So I can't go get sinus medication because of the drug dealers. So the only insurance I have now, I'm 68. I have cancer. I've had cancer for 14 years. I've had stem cell transplants and so many chemotherapies and radiation that I'm left damaged by those things. But I keep going. So I have no insurance but Medicare. The last time I went to my regular family doctor, just family regular checkup, healthcare checkup, they charged me $275 copay to see her for 15 minutes. Gave me some labs to do, and that's the last time I went to the doctor. So now I have no transportation because I can't get to the DMV because I have no driver and I have no insurance. So insurance went away, auto insurance went away, and I'm kind of like stuck at home, can't get anywhere. I order food from Kroger, and they deliver it. So we have ways around these problems, and that's delivery service, which you have to pay for. Now, the other thing I want to add is these ID papers and the way they are structuring this way of blocking me from going and doing and living a free life. Going and getting sinus medication. I can't get it. So ID papers really, really irk me. My father, 24 years in the Marine Corps, we moved all over this country so he could serve his country, 3 tours in Vietnam, Korea, and he used to take me around as he liked to travel around the country and stop at historic sites and show us the country. He was a country boy, born in Houston, and he used to tell me, take me by the hand, we walk around the beach, we live in San Diego, talk me down the beach, and he'd tell me, he liked to people watch, and he'd say, what the great thing about America is that nobody is going to come up to you or can come up to you and ask you for your ID papers. Show me your ID. That was his thing that made America free. And now we're not that anymore. And so anybody asks me for ID papers, they're not going to get them. I will not sign up for the program if I need ID papers. And that goes for Medicare Advantage. All my progressive friends that are on Medicare Advantage, you're just paying into their monster.
Thank you.
Anyway,
okay.
I have no insurance.
Ben, I just want to say I hear your frustration, and there are detailed things that we could actually ask folks to be more efficient in doing. I'm sorry about the Medicare Advantage. That's what you're ending up paying. One of the things that I should have started with in the program is to say I can't officially give advice from the station, but I can tell you if I were going for Medicare, I would definitely not take Medicare Advantage in these times. Anyway, thank you for your call.
That is my position, and I hold that position firmly with some of my progressive friends who have gone to Medicare Advantage because they said that's what they have to do.
And it's true.
I will not buy Advantage.
I got you. Let me tell you, brother, there are some people that's all they have, and we have to be supportive of them in the fact that they couldn't do, because of economics, they couldn't do any better. But we have to keep the fight up to get things right. Ben, I want to keep this conversation going with you outside of Fund Drive because there's a lot of things that you spoke about that's important that we all need to speak about. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling. And let's talk at another time. All right, brother?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Let's go to Eddie. Come on in, Eddie, line number 3. And by the way, I want to give a big thank you to Nelson G. Right here in Houston, Texas. We are about $360 or so from our goal, folks. We need to ask you, so kindly please call in as best you can. 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpf.org. Please, we need your support now. Come on in, brother Eddie. I hope this is my conservative Eddie brother here.
I think so.
All right, talk to me.
So I wanted to go over what I've heard you say in the past, the efficiency of Medicare because of the administrative cost at 3%
Yes.
versus, I think, 18%.
Yes.
So that number very, very flawed. And the reason is does not include administrative costs from Social Security, which handles enrollment for Medicare. It doesn't include the IRS, which handles premium. And if you add those things in, the costs go up to about.
You're breaking up a little bit, Eddie, but I continue because I can refute those two immediately. But go ahead, sir.
So still better. But the other thing you need to consider is the average person in private insurance, they're going to spend about $6,000 or $7,000 annually. The average person on Medicare spends about $12,000 or $14,000 annually. And if you're on Medicare and Medicaid, you spend about it's like $20,000 or $22,000 annually. So let's just say all things equal, administrative fees for Medicare, if they were $1,000 a person and you spend $20,000 a year, that's 5%. If the administrative fees for a private insurance are $1,000 a year and you only spend $10,000 that year, your administrative percentage is 10%. So you're not comparing really apples to apples.
Okay. Any more you want to add, or can I answer now?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Let me just tell you, what you just articulated there is the propaganda from the private insurance companies. It's all false. And let me explain what I mean by that. Okay. Let me finish. I didn't interrupt you.
Well, let me give you a source for it.
Please do.
CMS, Center for Medicare Services.
Right. Okay. The CMS is not your friend. First of all, the CMS is actually is a corporate-driven department within the federal government who is supported by the private insurance company to give a reason to have private insurance. Now, you are a critical thinker. I know you are. I know you are a critical thinker. So let's forget about those numbers that you just said there to start with. Let's forget about those that you said to start with. Let's go from the point of view that you are a critical thinker. If you have 10 insurance companies, right? Every one of those 10 insurance companies have a president, a vice president, shareholders, and out of the pot of everything that needs to be paid is a profit that supports the hundreds of thousands of shareholders these insurance companies have, the cost of capital that all these companies use for computer systems to manage their people, for lawyers to manage it. Remember what private insurance companies do. They manage risk so that they can maximize their profits. All of that are things that a single payer system simply does not have to do or have in their costs, period. And these are and these costs that I just mentioned, the bigger costs, those big costs. Another big cost that a private system has to have is advertising. Every time you see those big advertising for insurance, I'm not even talking about drugs. I'm talking just insurance. Somebody's paying for it, and that comes out of the pool of your insurance premium that you're paying to the private insurance companies. There are studies out there, well-written studies that gives you the numbers that shows you right now we would save over $500 billion a year if we went to a single payer. As a critical thinker, Eddie, not somebody that's just like I can't believe that long thing that the super PAC talks about how Democrats need to move to the center. I know it's crap, even though it's well written. What you just told me, it's not from you. I'm not calling what you are crap, but what you articulated there cannot be anything but crap, given the critical thinking that should come from those numbers that I just gave you. Just that alone, we can articulate, even if you had a 10% waste in the federal government, a 10% waste, it couldn't add up to all the cost involved in private insurance. Again, you have to look at the back end to make sure we know what we're talking about. And what I'm saying is it is impossible. It is mathematically impossible for private insurance that's competing against each other to somehow be less expensive where none of those costs are there. And that is just a critical thinking thought process. Go ahead, sir.
I'm not arguing that it's less expensive or different. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is the numbers that you're giving are actually accurate.
And okay, I'm sorry. I messed up because I did tell you that I was going to then go with the numbers you gave. The 3% for Medicare is valid. By you telling me that that IRS is a tax is a collector of the things. That's true, but that is what efficiencies look like. If Medicare gets information from from IRS had to get that information anyway. So therefore, wow, you just showed why it is more efficient. Let's go a little bit further. You talk about Social Security. Social Security has to gather them. Oh, were you? I'm sorry. We can't talk at the same time, brother. Let me finish, and then you can come back in. And the same applies to Social Security. Social Security have all this information. And by the way, Social Security as a retirement system is super efficient. I know there are people out there that says, well, if you don't pay Social Security and you just throw your 14% into the market, then you would actually have more. I can give the mathematical reason why that is false. The reason the stock market reaches certain levels is because of scarcity, supply, and demand. And once you have a huge supply of people throwing stuff into the market, what you think happens? It no longer has the value it has. Continue, brother.
So you're saying, though, that 3% is active as one service provides another. If I was able to go to take out the cost of premium and take out the cost of enrollments because somebody else did it for them, their fee would go up as well.
No, that's not true. Again, remember, that's you earlier talked about comparing apples and apples. That's what you're trying to do there, and that's not accurate. Let me explain why. Okay.
Do some critical thinking.
Yes.
If I remove from the private insurance, their efficiency go up. Their administrative fees go down.
Yeah, get off the speakerphone because you're breaking up a lot, my brother.
Yeah, hang on just a second.
Yeah.
So if I remove those costs,
yes,
my administrative fees have to go down.
If you remove, yes, but please remember, if the government is one system, right, and with very many subsystems, it's not a valid comparison to say that if the Medicare gets some particular set of information from Social Security and also have the IRS as its collector, that somehow that makes you add all that cost to the to Medicare, because what you would be adding if you really wanted to do is fractionalize it, which says, okay, it's a fraction of the cost anyway, even if you want to bill what IRS does and bill what Social Security does.
So if there's an employee at Social Security collecting information from Medicare, that should add to the cost of Medicare's administrative fees.
Of course.
That's what I'm saying. So if you remove that person from the Medicare budget, it's always going to look like their administrative fees are lower.
No, but what I'm saying though, and I'm going to have to move on after this, Eddie, but I like your calls because you do the query. Let me just say that you are correct that if you add some other things in there, it would not be exactly 3%. It would be maybe you add another couple of percentage points on based on the IRS and Social Security, etc. And I won't argue that point with you. In fact, I'll give that to you. And what I'll say is that above and beyond that, it is still a lot more efficient. And in fact, it is super efficient based on private insurance. But brother, please keep calling and doing this, but I got to go. I got to raise some money and I got to take 2 more calls. Okay?
Sure. Talk to you later.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Eddie. All right, let's go to Bruce. Bruce, real quick for me, and then John. You're on, Bruce.
Yeah. With us listeners, there should be somebody that can volunteer to take that man to the DMV to get his ID. If he lives in Spring Branch, get my number to him. We just need to take care of that. Speaking of acts of kindness, a year ago, I went to Cactus Records and Tape to pay in person my pledge. And it was a hot day. They offered me a beverage from the cooler, and all they had was sweet drinks and alcohol, and I can't have either one. So I was shopping the aisles, and a young lady, I don't know if it was Miyama or Elise, came up to me and handed me an ice-cold water she found in the bottom of the cooler. I never forgot that, and that was a year ago. Little acts help. But let's take care of that man. Somebody volunteer to take him to the DMV and to the grocery store.
Bruce, thank you for
that.
that.
The next contributor that calls in, I'm offering a negative copy with Bruce. You won't have to see my ugly face or hear my groaner puns. I'm done.
Bruce, you are a beautiful person. I don't even want to hear that. Folks, I got to do a quick pitch here. 713-526-5738. Again, the number is 713-526-5738. 5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org, hit that donate button, and give whatever you can. Folks, we are about $350 or so away from the goal. Can you start calling now, please, so that we can hit those numbers that we have to hit? Remember, yesterday we didn't make the goal, so it would be great if today we could not only make the goal, but go above and beyond the goal. And I know enough of you who have not yet contributed at all or contributed to this fund drive. You can do it, and you can help us stay on the air. As you can see, the discussion we have with Eddie, that needs to go a lot further. And I'm happy that Eddie calls in with these numbers, because that's how we get people informed, not arguing and fighting and throwing stuff out, but going by the numbers and going by what's best with people. That is the kind of conversation we want to have here. And we can only do that if we stay on air. We can only do that if this program is self-sustaining. So I ask kindly again, my brothers and sisters, please give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate, or go to kpft.org. Please, we can get this over the hump in the next 10 minutes. Sandy.
Thanks to Casey and Nelson for stepping up and supporting this program this morning. There are a lot more of you listening than 2 people. I just would wonder how our listeners would feel if they never heard this program at all, never had this station at all, never had gotten to meet the likes of a Ray Hill or a Larry Winters or a Mr. V or so many other people that have come down and participating in using the resource that is KPFT over time. There are people listening now that may be next on that list of really great programmers, hosts, bringing something to the airwaves. And we would really like to have this station open and thriving and working for when they show up. Look, this is a conduit for ideas, for thoughts, for conversation, for all of us. All of you tuning in, you're all welcome to participate, but we all need to support this. For 55 and a half years, we've been listeners supported, gathered during these fund drives, little by little, a goal for every program. And when a program makes its goal and passes the torch and the next does the same, at the end of the day, we look and we say, okay, good. We got over the barrier for the day and we go on to the next day. $175,000 is a lot of money to raise. It's a lot of money to anybody, I would think. But together, each of us doing a small part of that, it really isn't that difficult. 2 people have already donated enough to get us, 35, what is that? 30% of the way to the goal this morning. That means just 4 more of you, and we're really darn close. So please, give us a call. Let's make this goal. Let's continue. Let's have this resource for years to come. Let's have this resource for next month and the month after and into next year. Let's keep free speech radio in Houston, Texas. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Like with healthcare being twisted and minimalized, and those trying to take us back a number of years to where it's just the private insurance companies and nothing else. For those trying to do that, there are equal amounts of people out there trying to end this radio station and those like it. Having freedom of the airwaves and freedom of speech is something that many in government right now object to, and maybe some of the future leaders object to. But we can't let that happen. We need to control our own destiny through our own thoughts, have a free voting process to guide us, and elect people that will make it happen. But right now, we need you. We need you to keep this place, this oasis, open and functioning. 713-526-5738. Maybe one of you can do $1 a day. That's a $365 pledge. That would take us to our goal this morning. If 2 of you can share in that load, or 3 or 4, it doesn't become so cumbersome. So everybody, look, pick up a corner, pick up a handle, pick up a piece, and lift, and let's carry this forward. KPFT Houston, a gem, a jewel, a one-of-a-kind. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Having conversations about healthcare and what we're talking about ain't no joke. It's essential. Thank you, Egberto. Back to you.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Susan, thank you so kindly for your contribution. New contributor, thank you so kindly, Susan. Thank you so kindly. We need to get more in, folks. We need to get more in. We're almost out of time, but I know you can do it. I want to give a big welcome to John Cotter, president of the Humble Area Democrats and a hell of an activist in the northeast corner of Harris County. Thank you for being here. HZ Eric as well. Thank you guys for being here. Jimmy, come on in.
I suggest you ask for old cars and trucks. The other nonprofit stations do that same thing and get cars and trucks. And also wonder if you could take commercial from nonprofit organizations. They like to raise money for their organizations, and they wouldn't influence your program. So take commercial from nonprofit organizations and take people's old cars.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you, Jimmy. Jimmy, one of our great donors as well and supporters of KPFT. Jimmy, let's go ahead and talk tomorrow. Okay, brother?
Yes.
Have a great one. All right, folks. Anyway, folks, look, I need to speak on AI, but I'll do that. Let's do that tomorrow. But let me just give a little synopsis. Amazon laid off 14,000 people because of AI. I think it's a combination of AI and the economy slowing down. But I do think AI is going to be a major portion of a lot of us losing jobs. A lot of people are going to be losing jobs because of AI, because AI can replace a lot of folks. Okay. And UPS as well is losing, I think, 38 to 40,000 people in UPS. Again, this is going to be attributed to a little slowdown as well as AI. We're fearing AI. AI is likely, if your kids are in college right now, AI is probably going to decimate the next few years of employment for students. I want to give a big thank you to Alfred. Thank you, Alfred P. from Houston, Texas as well. Folks, we are now about, we're still about $310 away from our goal. If we could get an angel to say, I'm going to have coffee with Egberto for $250, that would be great. And I'd love to have coffee with you. Or give us a $10 a month membership. Again, that's less than 2 cups of coffee, or a $5 a month. That's about a little under a cup of coffee. Think about it. You will not even feel that. The thing about it, though, is one, you'll feel great about supporting the free flow of information and truthful information. And two, you'll just feel good that you are doing a part. You're doing your part because you can afford to do your part in supporting what we are doing here. And notice I didn't say what I am doing. I say what we are doing. And I mean that from the depths of the heart, what we are doing. Back to AI. Again, folks, remember this. I'm going to talk about the next time I talk about what Bernie has said. Bernie has sent a stern letter to Amazon as far as laying off these people. What are you going to do for these people that you're laying off? What about their health care? What about all these things? And I know what Bernie is doing. He's right to ask these questions, right? But here's the thing, folks. I don't want those questions to have to be asked. I think we as a society, mean all of us, as a society, corporations are there to do one thing: make money for the people who own that corporation. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. If you have a corporate structure within our system, it's not a bad thing for their sole purpose to provide a service that raises money, make people money, and do something, right? But we should have the underlying infrastructure for life to protect people, irrespective of the corporation having its will of hiring, firing, and supporting or not. We should have our own system. We the people should create that structure that if somebody doesn't have a job, they still have health care. It's called Medicare for all. If somebody doesn't have an income because it's not there, that they should have basic income that as a society we support. I'm not talking about something to give free money to people. That's not what we're talking about. Somebody called and said, oh, you guys like to give people free money. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about humanity here. We should have systems in place that when corporations fail, because again, their sole purpose is to make money, who they fail don't fall under the bus. And there are details and structures in which we can talk about how to rethink what's happening right now with AI. I want AI to go forward full blast. I don't want to stop innovation, but it cannot exist in a capitalist system where only a few take advantage of the spoils. And that is what we ought to be talking about, not just a few lefties, but the entire country. How are we going to survive when we have artificial intelligence that can do a lot of work that we normally did before? And the reason, and the bottom line is a shorter work week, more free time to spend with our families and all of that, and not give the spoils of all of our work to the corporate structure. But we'll talk about that at another time. I've got a pitch. Folks, we do need your support. We have four great folks, Alfred P., Susan M., Nelson G., KCD. Thank you so kindly for your support. We're still about $310 short. I hate doing this, but please give us a call now, 713-526-5738, and invest in what you know is a station worth investing in for what we provide. 713-526-5738, extension numero uno, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org, kpft.org. And when you go to kpft.org, you can just click that donate button. And when you hit that donate button, you just go ahead and select what you want to give. Folks, it's as easy as that. $5 a month, $10 a month. A t-shirt, the Politics Done Right t-shirt is $100 contribution, or you can go ahead and say, you know what? I want to get me a block and a statement to make at KPFT. That's $25 a month for a 4x8 cinder block, or $50 a month for an 8x8 that you can put whatever will fit on that, a message that will be forever enthralled in here at KPFT. But we need your support. 713-526-5738. I'm going to throw it to Sandy before we shut this thing down, but could you give us a call now? Sandy, it's all yours.
Thank you, Egberto. We just have a few minutes and we are around $300 short. Folks, if you're listening for this morning, if you listen regularly and you have not given this drive, please consider that contribution help close this gap. The faster we get to the goal, the faster we shut the whole thing down. And quite frankly, there are enough of you listening right now that if everyone called up and just did $5 a month, not only would this show be way over its goal, we would likely be right near the overall goal for the drive. It's that easy to fund the station.
Hey, Sandy, I don't want to interrupt you, but I got to say this real quick. We have, Sandy, I need to
pay for something that they consider to be free and right there for them all the time, and they don't have to. Well,
Sandy, I got to interrupt for a second.
We realize that we have to, or we don't have this at all.
Sandy can't hear me.
Those of you not thinking in that direction, think again, because it takes all of us. It takes the entire community to keep community radio on the air. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. And we'll come back and we'll thank you kindly for that contribution. But more importantly, all of us all together can continue listening to this amazing radio station. 55 and a half years, not a mistake at all. 55 and a half years of kindness from the community. We're hoping to extend that during this fall fund drive, the 56th fall fund drive in KPFT's existence. 713-526-5738, option 1, the Fall Pledge Drive long sleeve buttercolor t-shirt with a design from our own Blues Hound is available for a $100 donation. $10 a month gets you a pound of Lola Savannah coffee and a coffee cup, the Caroline Street coffee cup as well. If you want to up that $20 and make it a $140 contribution, you get the coffee and our KPFT thermos bottle branded with the KPFT logo. Carry that around. People will know what you listen to and where you put your money. Where your ears are is where you put your money. 713-526-5738. Again, thank you, Alfred, Susan, Nelson, and Casey. Thank you to the studio crew and Egberto. Back to you, Egberto.
Yeah, Sandy, I was trying to stop you. You couldn't hear me. Anyway, Cheryl Elkins is offering from our chat $100 match if it comes in these last minutes. Anybody who calls in the last few minutes will help us generate $100 match from Cheryl Elkins in the chat. So please, folks, let's take Cheryl's money. We love Cheryl. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. And just call in. If that thing comes up in the next 5 minutes, Cheryl Elkins is going to match the station, and she says she'll call the station this morning and to coordinate. Please do it now. We can get this money from Cheryl. 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org. kpft.org, hit the donate button. Be sure to put it's for Politics Done Right, because Cheryl Elkins is going to put up a match there for you. She's going to call the station and put up a match. Again, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. We've got a match, folks, but we got to get it within the next 4 minutes. Give me a call or hit that button, that donate button at kpft.org. Let me throw to the studio real quick to see if there's anything to say, and then we'll close this baby down.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I was thinking about Ben, if he wants to call in and leave his number, and Bruce, if he wants to call in and leave his number to volunteer his time. They're able to do that. Other than that, Medicare for all, I'm just thinking that, you know, it's a right everywhere, basically, except in America. And there's no reason that the government can spend all this money on war, you know, trillions of dollars and giving billions of dollars away, and not be able to make sure that the people, all the people in America, have health care. I mean, it's just, and keep that away from the companies, like you say. There's just no reason for it. If every other country can do it, and we hear how much money they just find for war, there's no reason that people can't be okay here and have health care. And we need to stop looking at it as if they're giving us a gift. It's not a gift. It's a right. This is where we are.
Exactly. Absolutely so. Well, let me tell you, we got to close down, but I want to remind folks one more time that Cheryl Elkins is offering $100 for the people who call in right now. We do need you to, we'd love if you would call in right now, 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org. We have a very generous person, Cheryl. Thank you so kindly. Anyway, I got to get out of here, folks. Remember, the rest of the program is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can also write me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. Love you all from the depths of my heart. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike